Hello everyone, today we have a ladder race between the chocolate teapots of Team Scones and the LEVEL Cyclones from the LEVEL Esports Club. This is a rematch of the same group that we raced last week, so there will be a few familiar faces on the LEVEL side. The course for today's race is the Tour of Tewitt Tour of Tewitt Well in Yorkshire, which means this is going to be an up and down type of race because Yorkshire is rarely if ever flat. So it's going to be a fun race. Don't really have any major strategy coming out the gate, though you do see Sean just now kicked really hard, mostly as a joke from something we were talking about in Discord just before the race started. But the goal is for the first lap at least, kind of feel things out. It's going to be 2 laps plus the finish at the top of the Yorkshire KOM. So we will get to see everything at least twice, with the KOM being seen 3 times. So again, pretty chill. It's going to be a lot of fun. Racing the team for the second time in 2 weeks means that both teams have a general idea of where each other are strong and what kind of, tendencies each team may have. So it's going to be really interesting. So with that said, let's get to the racing. So as we're making our way up the KOM here, nearing the top, you can see that we are not in quite the ideal situation. LEVEL have 4 guys at the front, we have 4 guys at the back. So I start to put in a little bit of a surge here with the goal of trying to get into that second wheel over the top of the climb. We do tend to be slightly heavier, I believe, than the LEVEL team, so the descent does play into our favor. So we can afford to leave a little bit of a gap, but we don't want to leave anything too large. We want to try and keep it all together. So here you can see I'm riding up to the wheel of Holloway as we come up over the climb. And this is where the race really actually gets blown apart, is just coming over this crest. You can see Gert and Sean coming past here, putting in pretty big effort. And then Holloway punches to follow them, and it's at this point, as the PR banners all disappear from the side panel, that we realize that we have a bit of a gap to the guys behind. So I, again, put in a little bit of a surge here to try and get into the draft of Sean, to make it a 3 at the front, with only one level guy, kind of get this split going as we go down this descent before the uncategorized little punch that's coming up in a little bit, as you can see from the course profile on the map. So here I check behind me, we see that we do have this gap. This is where we call, let's try and drive this this group and keep pushing with a strong tempo up this next hill. Because we do have a couple seconds gap, we have 3 of us, so we definitely have the horsepower here to keep driving this train. On the steeper section of this next climb, myself and Sean are riding pretty hard tempo here. Holloway and Guy and Gert have started to drop off the back, so we're starting to open up a gap. We still like this, we view this as being an advantageous position, so we're going to keep driving this. 2 of us off the front, we still think can make this stick, so we're going to keep going. And just kind of rotate workload here to try and keep driving the gap. And as you can see, the gap is starting to go out. As we're approaching the top of this, you'll see Gert puts in this big effort right here, and he surges across to make it 3 at the front, with Holloway trying to go with him, but I don't think he's able to, and then Guy also dropping off as well. So this brings us to the ideal scenario of 3 of us off the front, and the level guys are kind of stuck in no man's land in between. The 2 guys, Mim and Booth, they're with Liam at the back, and they have to make a decision on what they want to do. So we really like this position at this point. Here we're about to hit another one of the many climbs here in Yorkshire. Again, not a categorized climb, but it is very steep here. As you can see, the grades hit up to 22%, so it is very steep. It's a part of the course where, when we were talking about places to maybe make things happen, this was the area we identified. Due to the steep gradients, it's one where a lot of time can be made and lost very quickly based on the power-ups. And how hard people ride. You can see Gut and Sean here get feathers, which is arguably the best power up for this area, whereas I have the draft fan. Probably wasn't the best place to use it, got next to no benefit. I should have realized this. It was a poor use of the power up, but either way, we just keep grinding. The biggest challenge we had was just making sure that we all kept together and we weren't dropping each other throughout the climb and some of the subsequent climbs. So as we hit the start of the KOM on lap 2, you can see we've got about a 24-second gap over Holloway and Guy, who seem to look like they've met up. Booth is in a little bit of no man's land, a further 20 seconds back. And then we have Mim and Liam riding together at the back. This is Liam's first ride back after a series of illnesses and some time off the bike, so he's definitely working hard here, suffering a bit, but he's still getting points for the team no matter where he finishes, so we appreciate him digging deep because he was definitely having a challenge throughout this ride. So big props to Liam for sticking with it, especially on short notice, as our original fourth actually dropped just before the race due to illness as well. as we hit the super steep segments for the final time this ride. You can see 35-second gap. I am again stuck with the draft van while Good is riding off with the feather in front of me. I don't recall what Sean has. I think he also has the van, otherwise I think he would have used the feather by now. But again, it's just all about staying together as a group and doing our best to just maximize the efficiency of having 3 riders off the front. So yeah, at this point I think it's going to be very tough for the level guys to get back up with us. So yeah, it's going to just kind of be a 3-up sprint for the finish at this point by the look of it. hitting the KoM for the final time. As you can see, Gert has dropped off a little bit. Still has 40 seconds over Holloway, so not really too concerned there. Should be able to manage a 40-second gap with about a kilometer of racing to go. So it's me and Sean at the front heading up this hill. Sean puts in a little bit of a surge in the early slopes, whereas I prefer just to kind of keep it a little more of a steadier tempo and a slow ramp, especially in this draggier bit of the 3%. Definitely just going to keep tempo and work on just slowly pulling him back as we go up the climb. Don't want to use too much too early. So my goal here is just to kind of grind him back and then out sprint or go for a sprint at the finish. As we hit the final 180 meters, I am right on Sean's wheel, though he does start to put an acceleration. He pops his feather, so I pop my van, and we both go into the full-on sprint. It's a back and forth sprint. I kind of get over the top of him. It looks like he's about to get it, and then it looks like I win. And then when we get the final finish screen, Sean has won by half a second. Not sure how that happened, but congrats to Sean on the win and the win for the Chocolate Teapots team. Thoroughly enjoyed racing the Level team, and hopefully we can race them again in the not too distant future.